stand for the parent. And Robert.
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda item D, approval of minutes. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the minutes shall stand approved for April 6, 2026 regular council meeting minutes. And it shall stand approved. Agenda item E, citizen communication. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address city council, this would be the time to come to the podium. Moving on, agenda item F, reports from council committees. The electric committee did not meet on April 13th, 2026 due to a lack of agenda items. The water and city refuge, recycling, and litter committee on April 13th due to lack of agenda items. The municipal properties, building, land use, and economic development committee met on April 20th, 2026 at 5:30.
We recommended to council to discuss the Community Improvement Corporation guidelines.
Thank you. And the report for the Park and Recreation Committee did not meet on April 20th, 2026 due to a lack of agenda items. Agenda item H, introduction of new ordinances and resolutions. Resolution number 012-26, a resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds in excess of $50,000 for the purpose of removing an existing fuel tank and to award said purchase to Civil and Environmental Consultants, Inc., and declaring an emergency. Suspension requested. Can I have a motion, please?
A motion?
Second.
Thank you. John.
Yes, this is the legislation required to allow us to remove or abandon the existing fuel tank located over by the fire station. During the process of trying to get approval for the removal, we were able to get it approved for the abandonment. We were assisted in that process by CEC, Civil and Environmental Consultants. They have also been intimately involved with some of our other fuel tank projects. That's why we were requesting to waive the quality-based selection process in this and award them the contract. Copy of their contract, of their proposal was included. The expenditure is over $50,000. However, the funds for this were included in the 2026 budget. Asking for suspension on this just so we can get the project moving forward. The state is requesting that we try to have the work completed before fall, and this would allow us to get on it much more quickly.
Thank you. Anyone have questions?
Motion for suspension.
Thank you.
Second?
Marissa, can you please call roll?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Can I please call roll on the motion?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Agenda item H2, resolution number 01426, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of sodium chloride in cooperation with ODOT and declaring an emergency. Suspension requested. Can I have a motion, please?
A motion?
Second.
Thank you. Jeff.
Yes, this resolution would allow us to, once again, as we have annually for several years, enter into a contract with ODOT. What ODOT does is they get communities, townships, counties together so they can buy salt in a much larger bulk, which allows for better pricing. We were notified of the contract, as we are every year, with very short notice. But they handle the bidding process. Generally, we have seen much, much lower pricing than when we go out on our own. So we're requesting suspension so we can meet the deadlines ODOT has in place to be entered into their contract. This is due back approximately the end of the month. So that's the reason for the requested suspension.
Thank you. Council have any question?
Motion for suspension?
Second?
Marissa, can you please call roll?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Can you please call roll on the resolution?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Agenda item H, the second reading of ordinances and resolutions. Agenda item I, 1. Mulligan on that one, I'm gonna pour Ross. Resolution number 007-26, a resolution to approve the form and authorize the execution of Bright Mountain Solar Schedule with American Municipal Power, Inc., and taking of other actions in connection therewith and declaring an emergency. Have a motion, please.
Motion?
Second.
Thank you.
This is second read of Resolution 7-26, would allow the city manager to execute the documents and enter into an agreement. As part of that agreement, we would be able to purchase up to 3 megawatts of power, but nothing has changed on this since the first read.
Thank you. Does council have any comments or questions? Marissa, can you please call roll?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Agenda item J1, resolution number 005-26, a resolution authorizing a contribution to the man unit in and for the year 2026 for the One Ohio Recovery Foundation Fund and declaring an emergency. Can I please have a motion?
Motion?
Thank you.
Second.
Chad, is it-
Once again, third read on this one, nothing's changed. Councilman Galson, hopefully you were able to make contact. I know you requested that information, I believe. You were able to
I was
talk
able-
to someone.
Yes, I was able to talk to Nikki Ferguson.
Okay, great. But
She's the director of that program.
but nothing.
And
in
I
the
did ask
resolution's
some
changed.
questions, but in my meeting with her, I had mentioned in 2024 and 2025, Ohio as a whole saw a historic decline in overdose deaths, down nearly 45%, largely due to a decrease in the supply of fentanyl, Lucas County being the highest use of fentanyl. And one of the questions I had also asked her that troubled me was, does your program give Narcan to fentanyl users? And she said yes. And I feel like that's just supplying a user, giving drugs to another user. I mean, it just giving that person an opportunity to go out and hurt someone else's family member, your family member, my family member. And I think that's just wrong. Another question I asked her was, what is the success rate from your program? And she couldn't give me that number. I find that troubling, being a director of her own program, you don't know the success rate. How many people are you actually helping with this money? How much, and then I would like for you to ask yourself, how much of that 33,000 actually stays right here in Napoleon to help our families, our residents? Most of this money goes to other counties. We have programs right here in Napoleon that could benefit from the Ohio One money. Youth prevention and school programs, treatment and health care, such as the Maumee Valley Guidance Center, recovery support, per recovery, coaching, transportation, and job training for people in long-term recovery, Family and Children's Services Center for Child and Family Advocacy Group, support children impacted by a parent that's has substance use. Infrastructure, local entities can use grant for physical improvements such as renovating treatment facilities, purchasing a vehicle for mobile outreach. I'd like to know, are there any other programs out there that could be beneficial right here in Napoleon?
Any other comments? Those are good-
That's all I have.
those are good things to remember. Thank you.
Hey, Chad. I think the scope for this to be used is very narrow, isn't it? It's a very specific. I'm not as knowledgeable. I'm hoping you can maybe share some light on what other programs would be possible this money could be used for if we decided not to use the man unit.
Right. I personally am not familiar with the programs. It's my understanding through the man unit and the One Ohio Recovery Foundation Fund that it's used for drug addiction education expenses that are incurred by the man unit. I don't have an intimate knowledge of what other organizations are present in Henry County.
Dr. Dave, there are multiple usages for this, but it has to go mainly through drug education, and you can be a little broad with that. The items that you listed are correct. It could go to a vehicle if it helps to educate. It could go to building, if you want to have like a drug education area or room, it could go to something like that. The usage, what the man unit's going to do is certainly in line with the usage of that. So there are various ways of us spending the money. In the history of this fund, we have not really set a goal of what we want to spend this money for, partly because it trickles in over time. There was a time a couple years ago that someone suggested to purchase some items for for the police department, and it was like it was felt at the time it was sort of nickel and diming it a little bit because it was like playing cards with Dare on them or a backdrop for a photo shoot or something like that. And so that was not used for that purpose, although it could have been. It's just that there are multiple usages for this. We've never set a guideline for the usages. So when this was brought forth by Chief Legg, it did fit the need. It doesn't drain our fund, although it takes a chunk out of it. And so, we'll get a couple $1,000s a year for this, and we will continue to do so for several years going forward. So if we agree to use this for this purpose, we could look at other usages for later purposes. It's just that the funds that come in are so minor and so inconsistent, it would be hard to state that we're going to forecast $10,000 a year for the next year to come in. That's the tough part with this money. Some entities pool their money together because of that, because it's available to the townships, and some of the townships have waived their right and given it to the county, which is legal to do. And then there are other counties that I'm aware of that all the funds are put in one giant pool, and I don't know if they set up a committee or they have a way of that everyone gets a say of how it's used, but, they're dealing with more money because it's all pooled together. This amount of money that we have received is only for the city of Napoleon's received. The county itself has received, county as a whole, we've received a lot of money. So just to get back to your question, I mean, it is, you can only do it for certain things, but it is broad in the sense that the certain things are for drug education purposes. So,
Is our DARE program still active?
well, I'm going to say yes through our SRO, yes, because I believe he teaches that course.
Can we use this money to offset the expense of a vehicle that is police use as well as DARE use?
I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say I've never really looked into that. That would be a discussion point. I will say that, but some of those items that you're discussing, we have a contract with the school and they reimburse us for expenses. So like, we could use it for DARE expenses, but our DARE expenses are covered by the school
Okay.
to a point. Now, I'm not saying a car would be, because that probably would be a little bit of extreme, but some of those expenses, like with the education with the student resource officer, we get reimbursed for that through the school.
Well, I'm just wondering if we put it towards a vehicle, as expensive as police vehicles have gotten, and put that chunk of money against a vehicle and put a DARE sticker on it, and that's the vehicle that's going to be used for the DARE program. Would that qualify?
I would have to research that to make sure that it does qualify, but it would not be out of the realm that it could possibly be used that way. Is that about as gray as an answer I can give you?
Yeah, but I mean, maybe it's something we should discuss before we pass it. I know it's third read, but Victor may have a very good point, and maybe we should look into something that's going to more directly.
Might I interject?
Absolutely.
Lieutenant Stewart here. So,
Yeah.
With the leaving of Strickland, you no longer have a DARE officer.
Okay.
Officer Rubio is not certified as of yet, and I don't know that we intend to. It's my understanding the LEAD program was the direction they were going with that. It's a little more effective than DARE.
Okay.
Additionally, rolling the money into a car for our fleet, I think would be a silly use of the funds. We
Okay.
have money for that. We have money earmarked for that specifically. And to your question is, to Nikki, you asked, how many people is this helping? In my opinion, if it's helping one person, it's plenty, right? Like you said I think you said pennies on the dollar, nickel and dime is the phrase you use. So if it helps one person, why wouldn't you just prove it? I don't see the issue.
I'm not against either one. I'm just looking at options.
We can spitball and discuss what else could this be used for, but this is, like you said, the third read. Why not just consider that for next year? Kind of get together a little think tank, consider what could this be used for in addition to this. So, and we are already pooling the money together. It's managing it. It's a multiple county unit, so.
I'm not against the idea at all. I'm
No,
just,
Clear some stuff. We currently don't have DARE, so that would be, you would be putting the money towards nowhere, essentially. So,
I think this fund has been gaining a little bit of money for a while, has it not? Because we didn't have a direction to utilize it.
Since this fund has started, we have not spent 1 cent. The only thing that we've gained on this is the money that's come in from the settlements and interest.
When did this fund start? Rough guess.
2021, 2022?
Okay.
Yeah.
Chief, you have anything to add on
Yeah,
this?
so a lot of entities traditionally in the past, this One Ohio money has gone to first responders, those on the front lines. And it's usually been shared in a lot of entities between police and fire and EMS because they're the ones out there dealing with these addictions and
Sure.
these folks on a regular basis. We actually looked into this a while back as some things we could apply it for through the fire department because it was, to us, it was like, almost like a low-hanging fruit. And we could never come together on something that would actually meet the qualifications. So I think this would be a good, from our standpoint, as somebody who would have good access to the money within the fire department, I think this is a great way to use it because it really is hard to measure success. But if you look at, because this program is so very new. All right, this position that is being held right now by Officer Ferguson is a new position. So in that first year or two, she's still collecting data and stuff. And I sit on a couple different committees with a lot of people that are part of the multi-area unit. And everybody has that same problem because people go to different spots for treatment, and you may not hear back from them for a month, you may not hear back from them for 6 months. So it really is helping though, but to actually get numbers on it in such a short amount of time is very difficult to actually put a trend on it. You know, like most trends you see in the healthcare field are usually 2 to 3 years behind by the time they collect all the data. So in 2026, we're looking at numbers from 2023, 2024 on trends in the medical field. And I think this falls along with that as well. But from the fire department standpoint, you know, Chief Legg was unable to be here tonight, but asked that if it came up, that I had a chance to speak. And I am very supportive of this because I think it is a good cause, because we've even seen a decrease in the number of overdoses within the city that we have to run on. Is there still drugs here though? Absolutely, okay? Don't let that ever fool you that the drugs are going away, because the drugs are still here, but people do have the at-home kits, okay? The fire department has, as part of the Project Dawn kit, so if we go to an overdose, and that person, we revive that person, we give them naloxone, Narcan, and they come back and they're alert and oriented ×4, they can legally sign off against medical advice and not go to the hospital. The problem is, with fentanyl and with Narcan nowadays, or fentanyl and heroin nowadays, it's so potent.
Yeah.
It lasts longer in your system than what the Narcan does. So as that Narcan, your body metabolizes that Narcan, the heroin takes hold again, and they fall right back into an overdose. So we actually leave behind Narcan as well. Because if they don't want to go to the hospital, we can't force them to go. And we leave that behind for them, so if they do, somebody can get it to them. So, you know, it's not just that we're passing it out, because I was in the same boat as you, sir. When I first, this all started coming about, I'm like, why are we helping this? Why are we enabling this almost? But to hear some of these people that have been revived 8, 9, 10, 11 times, and it's that 11th time that they're like, man, I need to get my stuff together. And then you see them being productive members of society, that's where it's 100% worth it, in my opinion. So I appreciate it.
I know we tried to utilize that before in the fire department, and we never found a good use for it.
No, because it is
And,
very-
yeah, and I'm not against the man unit or anything, it's just this happens to be the third read, he had some questions.
No, absolutely, I just want to shed some light on
Yep.
it from our standpoint.
And,
as well.
and that's what we're looking for, and I greatly appreciate that. Thank you both.
Thank you. Any more comments?
I appreciate the perspective of both chief and the lieutenant.
Absolutely.
Sorry, okay, making sure I didn't disrespect you there. As someone with some exposure, unfortunately, to addiction and knowing individuals who required Narcan and have made that turn, I'm all in favor of this. I'm not gonna let certain aspects of that deter me from funding this unit. And I appreciate everything that Victor looked into, getting those stats. I question if we didn't have a man unit helping to cover our county, if we wouldn't be turning and getting away from some of the overdoses. So I'm all in favor of supporting this and putting the funds towards it. Appreciate the research, appreciate the perspective, but I disagree on this one, and I'd like to see it move forward.
Any other comments? Okay. Motion?
Yeah. Motion.
Yes.
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion.
I was like, where did we go?
You just need to roll.
Oh,
Roll.
okay.
Oh, yes,
Just
yes.
kidding.
Roll. Marissa, please roll.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Meredith,
Yes.
Victor,
No.
Jordan,
Yes.
Brittany.
Yes. Thank you. That passes on third read. And item K, good of the city. Description A1, approval of the power supply cost adjustment factors for April 2026 as PSCA 3-month average factor .02264 and JV2 .258321.
I could take that one. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
So this is our monthly power supply cost adjustment factors. We do see these trickling up over time. So what we did is we looked into this a little bit more. They do fluctuate, but it seems like we're getting into the .02 to .022 and we're typically much lower than that. So in 2025 to 2026 comparables, the power charges were greater in '25 than they were in 2026, and I'm comparing April to April. The transmission charges were higher in '26 and '25. So when we talk about these transmission charges that are continuing to increase, that we don't have a lot of say on, and then they have those PJM auctions, you know, these are things that are trickling down to affect us as citizens or as electric users or payers. So the overall bill was higher by $129,000 this April as it was from last April. And for reference, we're typically around $1 million or 1.1 million. So, you know, possibly like a 10 to 12% increase from one year to the next, which this last winter was a lot colder than it was prior to, because these things lag a little bit. But the transmission costs compared from April 25 to April 26 was $242,000 higher. So if you want to look at those metrics, you know, what is a reason that these are going up? It's pretty obvious that it's going to be the increase in our transmission cost for that. So I just thought I'd give you some insights for that. These are still to the average at a good pace and relatively low. So we would ask that you guys approve the April ones, and we continue to provide power to our citizens.
Thank you.
I have something to add.
Yeah.
So yesterday I was approached by a citizen talking about the electric rates. And probably the first time in my 10 or 11 years here, it was him being surprised at how low our rates are and was wondering when are we gonna raise our rates to match surrounding areas. He didn't want it to happen. He was just really surprised. And he says, I see things on Facebook, everybody complaining about the rates in Napoleon. And he has rental properties outside of Napoleon, some Toledo areas. And he said the rates that he's paying in other cities are more than double what he's paying here.
Those are the things we like to hear. Sorry for them, but,
Yeah.
I mean, we are within line, and, you know, it's hard to point that out to some citizens if they want to be complainers, quote unquote.
Right.
But yeah, we are in a pretty good shape.
Plus the reliability that we have here is number one as well.
I agree.
Our energy usage has gone up and the transmission costs have gone up. Are they on a parallel, or the transmission costs are going higher than what do you understand what I'm saying?
The transmission costs are definitely getting higher,
Higher than what just the energy usage would be?
yes.
Yeah.
We have no control over
We
that.
do not.
No, I mean, the best thing that we are doing is, we are a member of what's called AMP-T or AMP transmission. So, long-term, and that was for those that have been on council for a while, when we sold the assets of the substations, in the long term, we will be part of the transmission industry. And they're in the growing phases of AMP-T, AMP transmissions, but we will be a player of the transmission business, which is,
And we get a heads up of what's coming up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we just ask for approval.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second?
Thank you. Marissa, can you please call roll?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Thank you. Agenda item K2, discussion and action, approval of agreement with E.S. Wagner for donation of hydrant meter backflow device and the sale of water hauled outside of the city corporation limits.
Yes, as many are aware, ODOT has recently begun a project where they're rebuilding Route 6 around the city of Napoleon. That project is essentially from where 6 and 24 meet on the east side of town to where 6 and 24 split on the west side of town. They were interested in buying water from us on construction projects, primarily on roadway projects. Contractors that do projects for the city of Napoleon will get a hydrant meter and then they can access water from the hydrant. They're billed periodically for that water. And when they asked for the use of a hydrant meter on this project, we ran into a few issues. One, we have a limited number of hydrant meters that we try to make available to contractors working for the city. And also, we have certain rules in place that prohibit the sale of water to be hauled outside the city of Napoleon corporation limits. So working with them and working with Tony, we put together an agreement that with council's approval would not only allow them to purchase the water and use it outside the corporation limits, but as part of that, instead of using one of our hydrant meters, they will purchase a hydrant meter with a backflow device and donate it to the city that they will use during the course of the project. Then at the completion of the project, we keep that hydrant meter in stock. So speaking with Tony regarding the agreement, it would just be a simple motion to allow us to move forward and execute that agreement with E.S. Wagner.
Thank you. It's a clever way of figuring that out.
I looked at past issues and tried to mirror that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
If I could just add to that, on the financial side of this, we believe this is a really good step. There's not a lot of projects that go on that's gonna take over 2 years or 2 years plus.
Right.
So with this, we also plan on billing them on a monthly basis as long as there's usage, like if in the wintertime there's no usage, obviously not. Whereas most projects, we bill them at the end, and we could lapse like 4 or 5 months of a
Right.
project, which then sort of skews our water usage reports a little bit. So this is a great agreement that we would love to see move forward, and that it would certainly be a win-win for them and for us. Do that.
Any comments from council? Get a motion, please?
Motion?
Second?
Thank you. Marissa, can you please call roll?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
Agenda
you.
item K3, discussion action, approval of plans and bid documents for the 2026 miscellaneous street improvements project.
Yes, this is once again one of our projects we're trying to advertise for bids this year. This was included in the 2026 budget. The 2026 miscellaneous street improvements project includes the resurfacing of West Maumee from South Perry Street to County Road 14, the resurfacing of Fifth Street from Meekison to Brownell. We will also resurface Brownell from Fifth Street to the dead end. And then due to budget limitations, we added Wood Drive in there as an alternate bid item. If the bids come in low enough, we will award that as well. If the bids are higher, we'll hold that project and maybe look at it in the next year or two. But we're asking for a simple motion from council to approve the plans and bid documents so that we can advertise this project later this week.
Thank you. Any comments from council? Can I have a motion, please?
A motion?
Second?
That sounded really
Marissa,
confident.
call roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Thank you.
That sounded very confident.
Agenda item K4, discussion and action, the Community Improvement Corporation CIC guidelines.
So, yes, the committee met last week, and I know that the city manager was tasked with trying to put something together, and there's quite a bit of information that was included in your packet. I'll scroll through here quick. This is the map that, when I first saw it this morning, thought it was a little confusing. Per ordinance, the light blue area, not any of the darker blues, the light blue area is the defined area for downtown. The hatched area, and you have to pardon the hatched area over here that has FPs, that means floodplain. They should have used a different hatch. The hatched area here is the preservation district. So they don't quite line up, but the proposal was to have this area defined as the downtown district. But that's why some of the wording says that the preservation district could or could not apply. Some areas are in the preservation district, but outside the light blue, which is downtown. Some areas are light blue, but not in the preservation district. So just wanted to define that map a little better. And you can see here what's considered the downtown area does go to the south side, includes the north side of East Maumee and a little bit, or I beg your pardon, East Maumee over to Meekson here, and then a portion of Appian Avenue and even a small portion of South Perry. This would be Meekison Street, so it goes down by this is Meekison Street, this is Barnes, so it includes some of this area as well. But I wanted to clarify that just because I was a little confused, and technically this is one of my maps. So, wanted to define it. The city manager, Lori, prepared on the next piece here, the program purpose, City of Napoleon Downtown Facade Enhancement Program established to encourage private reinvestment. Essentially, they want to try to get funds to improve the facades of buildings. But all the projects will have to comply with planning and zoning. The commercial districts, as I mentioned, the C1, which is the downtown, preservation district requirements and historic district guidelines. And obviously, we would require the building, fire, and ADA codes be followed. Here's where she mentioned the eligible areas within the downtown commercial zoning districts, including C1 General Commercial District. If you go to the codifieds, I think the only confusing portion of this was districts was pluralized. Technically, there's only one commercial district in the city's downtown. Eligible applicants would be the owners of the properties, business owners with written authorization, nonprofits owning or leasing with property owner authorization, very similar, they have to have authorization. Eligible improvements, here's where it gets into the facade repairs, masonry, repointing and cleaning of brick, painting, storefronts, essentially everything that people would see in our downtown. We're not interested in giving money to a business that's gonna be used to fix the bathroom in the back or something to that effect. We want to attract people who come to the city. And once again, all improvements in the preservation district shall comply with those rules. The funding structure, it was discussed reimbursement covering up to 50% of eligible costs. The other 50% would have to be matched by the property owner or the individual or the leasee of that property if they have the proper authorization. Council had discussed the maximum award of $10,000 per property. I know $10,000 was what was transferred for this program. Matching funds must be private cash expenditures, one award per property per program cycle. And I want to touch on that in a little bit here, but we'll go through here. The downtown program guidelines, once again, to encourage private reinvestment in the downtown. Administration would be by the CIC, and Jen's here tonight to assist. And there's more to that I'd like to address in a moment as well. The Municipal Properties Building Land Use Economic Development Committee to provide a high-level oversight and approve awards. Assistance will be provided by city staff. Once again, the funding of the $10,000 grants reimbursed up to 50% of the cost. Eligibility, once again, we discussed the location, the ownership, and what was mentioned before. This is a sample application packet where they would provide their information. the property information, the description of the project, and a budget. Essentially, what was being proposed by the city manager, obviously, they would need to present a budget, but this would be a reimbursable program, and they would have to show receipts that they paid, and then, so if they said it was gonna be a $10,000 project, get done and it was only 5, we're not going to award 5,000, we would grant the 50%. Then just a checklist on when that application is submitted, that they have included all the proper documentation. They can add estimates, photos, anything. They may, maybe they had an issue from a structural engineer that said the facade needs to be repaired quickly. Okay, well, this is funding to help offset some of the facade repair costs, so that could help with their application. If they were in the preservation district, they would obviously have to have a certificate of appropriateness. This was what was put together as a possible agreement. The agreement would be dated, and obviously we would have who would be the grantor and the grantee, the grantor being the city or the CIC. Purpose and scope, once again, outlines private reinvestment and we would check one in the agreement for facade repair, storefront windows, awnings, canopies, things of that nature. Once again, outlines the 50% and maximum award, the matching fund requirement, the frequency that a property owner or developer or whomever is applying could apply for this. Regulatory compliance, obviously follow the codes. If they do not follow the code, that would negate the agreement. Historic standards, if in the preservation district, they would have to have all their permits, whether they be building permits, sign permits, things of that nature. Once again, certificate of appropriateness if required for their location. The conditions of the disbursement completion, all work must be completed according to the approved application and eligible improvements list. Inspections must be performed and must be visible from the public right-of-way. Documentation granting must submit proof of payment. Once again, this is a reimbursement, not, we don't write them a check before they start the project. The check would be issued at the completion of the project, and they can show paid invoices. Term and termination, failure to comply may result in the forfeiture of grant funds. Then there would be a date for the completion of the project as required. There would be some signatures required with that agreement. Signatures of the grantee and the grantor. And that's everything the city manager prepared, and it's my understanding there might be some input on this, and it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you for that thorough review. Yeah, I'm sure there's comments from council, so I'll just go ahead and open that up now.
I have one thing that I believe we discussed that I don't see in here, that this could not be used to pay applicants for their own labor.
Okay.
If somebody wants to do their own work, we're not going to reimburse them for their time and effort in their own building.
And I think that could potentially fall under the portion where they have to show paid invoices.
Right.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong,
Could.
but we could state that as well.
Made explicit.
Wouldn't pay for their labor, but what about their materials?
Yeah.
What if they decided to do the work, but have this reimbursed for materials? Would that be allowed? I'm asking because, better to ask first
Yeah.
before we begin than
It would
afterward.
depend on how we define it. If we defined it as they cannot get reimbursed for their labor, then if they had receipts that showed proof of materials, that would be allowed unless explicitly removed.
I just wanted to bring it up just in
Yeah.
case.
Yes, the idea would be contractor invoices. However we want to define that.
somebody who's better at reading than me help me out, because maybe I'm not following it. So, I own a business in downtown. Can I apply for this before I complete my work? Or do I have to complete my work and then I can apply for this?
Generally, you would have to apply before you start your work.
I just got lost in the reading and I went, well,
Yeah.
I need paid invoices, I need all these things, I didn't know.
Yes, and I guess to kind of expand on that, I became involved in this morning.
Right.
I spent about 4 hours trying to get everything ready for tonight. A few things that caught my eye. I work with a lot of grants. And I know Lori left me a few questions she wanted clarified as well. I think you need to have an application period. I personally feel it's better to have that as once per year. If you're asking, and it's my understanding it would probably be the CIC, Jen, reviewing the applications, doing that 4 times a year is a lot. If it was set up so that from, say, February 1st to March 1st, applications are due, I believe that would provide them with enough time to review those and in a few weeks have a recommendation. I was under the impression that that recommendation, that council wanted that to come back for approval. Is that coming back to a committee or is that coming back to full body of council? That's something we would have to consider. Also, in fact, I stopped on this page so I wouldn't forget. The agreement currently is listed here with signature of mayor. I believe it would be more appropriate to have it as a signature of the city manager because council would, or committee would approve it and have the city manager who acts as their CEO be the signature of that agreement. Generally, a city manager is a signature on contracts we enter into. And I believe I had a few other questions. I have to find them.
Chad, with that, you might want to have the signature of the fiscal officer or the finance director
Absolutely.
to verify that the funds are there
Absolutely.
with that.
And
Because most grants have that signature on there.
And one other thing I thought of trying to make this simpler, the term, rather than have a date in here, we could list it as the term for this shall be 1 year from that date. That's not to say that an extension couldn't be granted, but it would have to be requested in writing, and there's no guarantee that you would give an extension. But I just thought it would be simpler if you gave 1 year or 15 months, whatever seems appropriate, from the date of the grant agreement. Because when it's signed, they can go. So it's not like they gotta wait another month to move forward. Once it's signed by all parties, they could move forward. But those are just some things I noticed since I deal with these things so frequently.
Yep.
I think that was all of my notes.
One other question I had for the funding of the program is, I would just like to have it clarified. It says that the program is funded $10,000 annually. So, much like our sidewalk program where we budget so much annually, it doesn't roll over. I would just like that clarified, that if we fund this $10,000 and only $5,000 is used, then we will make sure that that next year, $10,000 will be funded, refunding, but that unused portion doesn't continue to roll over, unless that's what council wants this to do. I mean, do you want this to be, if it's not used for 5 years, you got $50,000 there? Or is it just a matter of our max yearly is 10,000, whatever's not used just goes back to its source?
I believe the intent was to have it keep growing so we could beautify the downtown as much as possible. we can always make changes later on, but I think if we have 5,000 left and then next year we have a couple of businesses that want it, now we have 15,000 and we're going to reach our goals.
So the intent is to earmark this for futures of $10,000 every year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we gonna put a limit on it? How much somebody can, if we're doing $10,000 a year, is it $10,000, up to $10,000 that a business can have? Or does the limit that a business can use also grow?
The way it's currently structured, the first year, 10,000 is the max that would be awarded, but if you have 2 people apply, regardless, they can't be awarded more than 50% of their project costs. Now, if in a couple years that fund has grown, there's nothing in place as presented that would limit that. If in 5 years there's $20,000 sitting there, there's nothing set up at this point that would limit it other than the number of applicants. And that's not to say every applicant would be approved. And that's something that, once again, would be reviewed by the CIC, and I do understand I'm speaking for her and she hasn't spoken. But as presented this evening, that is not in there, that there would be a limit other than the funds that are currently available.
Since she's hiding back there, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I know you can't see.
I know, I'm like, she's here? Really? Is there anything you'd like to add that you think would be beneficial to add or make changes to what we've talked about tonight?
I mean, first of all, I want to say thanks for the consideration of this program, because I would say Napoleon is very blessed right now to have quite a few business owners downtown in that district, and I will say the majority of inquiries that I do get is in that zone, so that's good, so we're targeting the right area. Like I said, we've been blessed with people like Destry and Gino that have taken upon themselves to fix the facades of their buildings, and that's kind of like the catalyst to get things going. So where I see a one-time use 1 year, I think right off the bat, you'll get several inquiries, and that will go quickly. Some facades are 3 stories tall, some are a lot smaller. Some I know do want to paint, and great question on can they do it themselves, because said person is a painter, so I would say that is something for you to consider. We've run into that in the past, so that's something to think about, but I just think we'll be very lucky to have this, and I think it will continue to grow, and I think that's what we want to see as these buildings get refurbished and look great, so. No, I would agree with all the questions that you're already asking right now, and they're worth discussion.
Thank you.
Have a question.
Yes.
Jerry Towns, I own a building, 126 West Clinton Street.
Can you come up to the microphone? I'm sorry, I took your job.
We were gonna mention if you come to the podium, please, and just write your name and information.
I just heard about this program on the radio today. Joe Fibruke heard that. I am actually entertaining tuck pointing my building, and we are getting in the process of getting estimates. I know some people said about painting. I have a serious issue with tuck pointing. I guess it'd be considered appropriateness and/or, if you want to say, need. I need to do it. It's bad. That's the reason we're entertaining that. And then I heard about this program that maybe we could possibly do something. But I see a lot of lines there. A lot of people not going to take advantage of it because there's too much. If you could streamline it somehow, where would we go to get an application? Why doesn't the city do it? Why don't you leave it right here? Instead, you do this, you send it to the CIC, then CIC has to come back to you, and then CIC comes to the building owner, property owner, whatever. I guess you get too many people involved and then a lot of stuff gets lost. Years ago, when they had that huge downtown where Robin Wyrock was the administrator of the money, I applied for money for a roof. Still waiting to hear back from her. Filled out all the paperwork, everything in detail, copied everything, got it to her. Still waiting to hear from her. And that's been 10, 15 years ago.
So
Ended
Jerry,
up
I
putting
think I can answer that first question about why we decided to talk to Jen about doing this. For one, she has a lot of experience, the CIC does, for requests like this for other things. And Jen has graciously offered her services to be able to be the point person for the applications, because it came out of a committee of 4 of us on that committee, where that's not our main jobs to do. So it would be better to just have it to go to one location, kind of like you're saying, like why are we having so many people? The one person would be Jen going over it, and then she would bring those to our committee to let us know her thoughts and which ones qualify and which ones don't qualify.
But I guess who sets qualifications up? Is it gonna be you guys,
That's-
or is the CIC gonna have input on the qualifications also? Because if they're administering, they're gonna have a portion of say, I would think.
We took her suggestions during the first couple meetings that we had, and that's how we compiled everything that Chad is presenting. And that's what we're tweaking now to see if there should be more. If there's things that shouldn't be on there, open to
I don't know, I guess,
cut some of those things out.
from a building owner, and then I guess I'm a property owner, but then my business owns the building. And I'm an employee of my business. So I guess with that, could I do the work and turn it in with me being an employee of my business?
I don't know how
Something to think
everyone else
about.
feels.
You can get
right?
paid materials. I think that's what we talked about.
That's what I'm saying, but if it's you're saying a building owner, which is a commercial, which.
Correct.
I'm commercial, but I'm an employee of my business.
Correct. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that should be clarified before we set the program.
What is your time frame on this program?
We're trying to come up with it right now. We're trying, right now, this is the beginning. We're trying to get it started. Do we want to go this direction? I don't know. It's not my program. I'm just on council. I'm trying to come up with the answers, but I'm glad you brought that to our attention because that is something that should be addressed ahead of time.
Jerry, I can tell you that this is very new. We have a rough outline of the program, and we tried, even the application, we try to keep very short. It's essentially a one-page application.
Right.
The money has been budgeted. If we can get it in place, I think it is the intent to try to get something moving forward yet this year. We may have a shorter window since we're a short year. If we look at doing an application process annually that would be, say, in February, yes, this year would be very quick.
Right.
But this wasn't on anyone's radar really a year ago. So I don't think we can guarantee that it'll be in place this year, but we're trying to get it there.
Yeah. Yeah, because right now with the early estimates of tuck pointing for my building, where it's between $8,000 and $12,000.
Sure. It's a big building.
What is tuck point? Because that's,
Filling in the lines between the brick.
Yeah.
okay, thank you. I wasn't familiar with
And
that.
We're looking at some serious issues right now with several of the masons that I've talked to, that they're a serious issue.
Okay.
So, I mean, if I can get, it's not free money, it's my money, but it's just, I'm reinvesting it.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know, one thing that I was looking into, the city of Canton has a similar program that we were discussing in the committee. A lot of guidelines that they have online seem very helpful in what we're trying to do here. Unfortunately, it adds a little bit more to the application process. And just things that jumped out to me is the qualifications for the applicant would be their income taxes are paid, the utility bills are paid. They're just compliant in all those areas as far as the city is concerned. Do we want to take it one step further and are the real estate taxes paid? You know, that's something to consider as well. I don't know if this is in there in the deep language, I don't remember, but if we award someone, does that mean they can't come back? You know, once they receive it?
I just read one award per property per program cycle,
Okay.
so
Right.
per
Each
cycle
year.
covers
Yeah.
that language to me.
Yeah, the way it's currently worded, yes, correct.
Per cycle is per year then, right?
Most likely.
Most likely.
I recommend it, that a cycle be a year,
Mhm.
not necessarily a calendar, but program
Program year.
year. I know there was discussion of maybe doing it a few times a year, but that makes a lot more work for those involved in making those recommendations. And if you do it, whoever applies, say January, are you gonna eat up all the funds, or are you trying to keep money back in case somebody applies later? If you have it all in one cycle, you know what you have to work with.
Yep.
And what's being requested.
Yep.
And being with that, with one cycle is, if you grant somebody, you encumber $5,000 and then we only reimburse it 50% and they come back and it's only 4, then that other 1,000 gets freed up. By doing multiple cycles, you may not know that that's
Right.
freed up until
Yeah.
that cycle ends.
Tony, do you have any thoughts on this?
Some, yeah. I'll let Chad, was saying that the once per cycle, you look at these things, that's a big one. The roll over your year, I think that's probably a good idea if you're looking for the city and, the earmark it, keeps going, because you might get nobody to apply, 5 years down the road, and then somebody can do a bigger project. It is, I think, a positive thing to the community, but it needs defined a little bit. This just does, and the stringent requirements, I think, it may be a hurdle, but it's also, checking your boxes, especially on the payment of taxes, even down to real estate taxes, I think. If you can't be compliant, then why would we give you free money?
Yep. Agreed.
So I would agree with that, with a lot of the other programs that LEDOs, local economic development organizations utilize. The Northwest corner, we've all been talking about a similar program for small business grants. And for us, all those requirements and boxes that they have to check, we're rewarding those businesses and business owners that put in the work. They're paying their taxes, they have a business license. That's what these funds are for. Because what we don't want is someone to apply, use them, and they're gone, they vacate the building, or they destroy the building in the process, even though it's reimbursable, but, the goal of this is to support the business owners, so I would agree with all of that. Hence why all the extra work. I know it seems like a lot, but just like with any other program or grant, whether it's large industrial or small business, that's how it goes.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Chad, are the grants that you get like one pagers pretty easy to fill out? Or are they?
No, not usually.
So-
I don't know if you've seen me turn in an issue 2 grant, but it's thicker than this binder, the application. I think this one's fairly simple, even if you did add in the requirements of showing proof of being up to date on taxes, utilities, or if it's just something that's checked. This is one of the shortest I've seen. But I will also say that we're not dealing with $1 million grant here either. Generally, the smaller the funds, the shorter the grant application. And that's not to say that small funds aren't just as important to small businesses. They're dealing with smaller scope projects. And absolutely, this could help push their projects across the finish line.
I do think it's important that we have a deadline, like you said, for the applications, but then we also need a deadline as to when we're gonna make that decision. And I think it's important to notify someone if you didn't get it. And Jerry shouldn't, somebody shouldn't wait years and years, hey, am I ever gonna get this? We need to notify all the applicants of the decision
Absolutely.
before it goes, in the paper and the news.
One thing to maybe add to that would be nuisance property.
And that, well, yes, that's another thing, could be easily checked through city staff.
Yep.
It may be helpful to state as well that council has the right to modify any regulations that are put into place.
I attended the committee meeting for this, but I stepped out for a short period to talk with somebody in the hall. Is everybody in alignment that we want to keep it facade oriented? Is that where you guys landed on?
Yeah, I
I
think
was to say,
pretty
at
much.
the last meeting, it was kind of the focus. There was a question about, does it go beyond downtown? And right now, I don't think that's where the focus was for the committee, if I was correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to clarify, this is going to be for appearance, not for structural.
The way it's worded is something visual.
Yeah, so it's
outside
gotta
the
be,
building.
but it can't be something serious like structural. If we get a large fund build up and all of a sudden somebody says, hey, I'm gonna take advantage of this for a structural purpose.
It has to be, you have to be able to see it from the
I
outside.
just wanted-
It could maybe be a combination of both.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
So to Jerry's point, is fixing the brick, is that considered structural?
Actually, I believe that's one of the items that was actually listed on here, was tuck pointing.
It would be both. It would be both.
Masonry
I
repair,
believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's under 5, page 2.
Masonry repair, repointing and cleaning, non-abrasive methods. Masonry repair, that's essentially tuck pointing, yes.
Is our goal here tonight to approve this, or is it to have discussion and go back to the committee?
I believe it was just discussion and then go back to committee.
Because didn't Tony talk about there may be some refining he wants done?
Yeah.
I think with conversation,
Yeah.
like all the good ideas, but, I'm looking at these hurdles, like like Chad said, the grants he's filling out. This isn't easy stuff to get. I mean, it's made, you check your box and make sure you've done everything, and like Jen said, you're rewarding the businesses that have put in that big effort. I'm not saying that nobody's able to do aren't, but if you're not current on your stuff here, like I said, it's pretty tough to, say that your effort's been put in forth. You owe the city back utilities or, income tax or property tax.
And on the current application, the second page, I said it one page, there is a second page, but it's really just a checklist. Your completed application, your estimates, your photos, owner authorization if you don't own it, the certificate of appropriateness. You could have other check boxes here that could possibly be verified by staff or CIC that current on taxes, current on utilities, not currently a nuisance property unless the project is to address that nuisance issue.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
That could be set up in guidelines that might not need to all be part of the application, but when the applications are reviewed, the things that need to be checked by Jen or city staff or somebody on our side of the agreement.
And to Kevin's point, I don't think you approve this, you can't approve something that's not in full form, and,
Right.
that's just not possible. It's close, but it's probably not there yet.
So I don't know if there's a need to go back to committee just because it's just gonna take up more time. Because if you put in everything that we talked about, we take it back to the committee, and the committee says, yep, we like it, then it has to come back to council for 3 reads. That's just gonna extend the time and shorten the time for people to apply.
And I know that Lori's gone for a few weeks, but I believe between Marissa and I can access the files and try to incorporate some of what you would like to have revised. I can send it to Tony for review, and Jen to review as well. And I'm not saying we would have a finished product in 2 weeks, but we'll be closer.
Right.
Sounds good.
I like that.
Do we have to have a motion for
Appreciate
that?
that. We table it?
Yeah,
Motion to move forward, or?
I think we just,
I don't believe you took a motion, so I don't know that you need
Yeah,
to
okay,
table it.
okay,
Okay.
So we just,
yeah, we just had discussion,
okay.
no action.
No action on it.
Right.
Okay, we will go around the table. Chad, I'm gonna start with you this evening.
Okay, the first item I would like to mention, so this evening, we are joined by our soon-to-be new HR director, Emily Meyer. She so graciously came to the meeting this evening. Emily's been at Defiance for quite a while, and she was the candidate that rose to the top for that position. And if you would be okay with it, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, Emily Meyer. I've been with the county for 12 years. Started out as receptionist and just kind of worked my way up. I enjoy HR. I'm excited to kind of jump into the city world of local government and gonna get my feet wet. Excited to meet everyone and just get started. I see you guys have some job postings out there, so I feel like those will be waiting for me when I start. So, ready to go.
Job security.
Sure.
Emily is scheduled to start May 6th, so a couple weeks. I don't even remember what the date is anymore today, but yeah, a couple weeks out. But yeah, we look forward to having her. I don't know if there are any questions.
Congratulations and welcome.
Excited. I'm sorry. Meyer, yep. Yeah, finishing our deconsolidation of our JFS at the county. We have a joint JFS with Pauling and Defiance. That's what's the biggest thing on my plate right now, finishing that up and hopefully tying a few things up for them before I leave.
And we knew, she had informed us during the interview process that if she was chosen, that she really wanted to see that project through before she'd be able to come work for us. And I appreciate wanting to,
Yep.
that need to finish something that you started. So we look forward to working with her. We did have some great candidates, but as I mentioned, Emily was the one that we felt would be the best fit for the city of Napoleon.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Look forward to working with you.
Thanks, Emily. Unlimited pickup was last week, as many saw. I just wanted to, I worked with Brandy a little bit this afternoon. I do not have final numbers, but we do have some numbers. As many are aware, the tonnage was up. We had some mechanical problems last week. We had to rent another truck. So we do believe the final cost will be higher than it has been recently. But just to put it into perspective, 2025, our tonnage was 211 tons. This cycle was 280 tons. There was a lot out there. We do not have the employee labor numbers put together yet. That's really the thing that's holding us up on, and it's just the cycle. It's not a pay period yet. We haven't gotten the timesheets all in yet. Hopefully in a couple weeks, we'll be able to get you final numbers. But that was the big one, was landfill disposal, to have the tonnage go up that much. We don't have the fuel calculated yet. We had to add a third refuse truck for most of the week. But when we get those numbers, we'll get them to you. I just want to thank my staff for the work they did. I don't know if anyone noticed, but it rained a little last week.
Ooh, yeah.
So those guys were in the rain every single day, I believe. And it was a sloppy mess. So just appreciate the work the guys did last week. So as mentioned, Lori will be out for a few weeks. She will be back for the next council meeting. She comes home May 3rd, so if there's anything you need me to look into or to work on, please reach out.
Do you have any idea on, I know you said refuge was up quite a bit, what about recyclables in the refuge?
The numbers for this were just unlimited pickup. That is not our refuse recycling regular program. That was just the bulk pickup we did last week. We haven't run numbers, like quarterly numbers on our refuse and recycling programs. I can talk to Brandy and we can get something put together.
Well, I mean, we had a lot of trouble with, previously with people going through and taking recyclable materials. Has there as much problem this time?
We did have quite a few problems. Our scrap metal was up. In 2025, it was 21.5 tons, and we were 32 tons. But we haven't gotten the final price to say the income, how
Right.
much that helped offset.
Because that helps pay for the program.
It does. It absolutely helps. And I know several people were stopped. Several people were asked to leave town. Just want to reiterate that once those materials are put on the curb, they are the city of Napoleon's materials. We publicized it. Brian stopped somebody with Michigan plates. So they're coming from everywhere.
Yep.
But yes, the scrap metal did go up a little bit on tonnage. We just don't have a price for that yet.
Right. All right, thank you.
Yep. That's all I got.
Chad, do you think from the rain, that consisted with our weight there?
I don't doubt there was some of that. Now, granted, that stuff gets compressed real tight when we put it in the back of that truck, but we also generally don't have the drain plugs out of those trucks because we don't want to drip that down the road. So I don't doubt that added to the tonnage. A dry mattress weighs much less than a wet one.
Amen.
And we loaded a lot of mattresses. So that could be a factor. I don't think it was that much tonnage, but I'm sure it contributed.
Jenny?
Nothing, thank you.
Mary? Tom? Dr. Dave?
Welcome to the team. That's it.
Chad did leave out that the reason he really knew how wet the guys got was because Chad was one of them that went out there and helped the guys accomplish this. So thank you very much, Chad.
Don't ask your guys to do something you won't do yourself.
Exactly.
Amen.
Yeah. The other thing is, I guess it's better late than never. I forgot a couple times. I wanted to recognize the girls bowling team from Napoleon winning the state championship for their first time ever. The Wildcats defeated the top-seeded Coldwater 3-0. So just wanted to congratulate them. That's all I have.
Oh, welcome, Emily. Thank you for coming to Napoleon. And Chad, thank you for explaining very well the enhancement agreement application. We got a lot of good ideas, and I believe it's really exciting, to help out downtown business owners. That's all I have.
I've got nothing, thank you.
Chad, thank you for stepping in for Lori when she's out. Really appreciate it. I know it's kind of hard to juggle a couple of those things at the same time.
We got
I understand. And I will have to say thank you to the operations team for the work that they did with the guys.
And no overtime.
Oh, that's been better. I did notice that after the one storm that came through Sunday night, there was trash just blown all over the front yard.
Yeah.
So when I got up that morning, I went downstairs and was in my PJs going, wait, now what am I gonna do? And I saw one of our employees walking through my yard picking it all up. So it's definitely gracious for the extra effort that they put in. So thank you for that. With that, I will have nothing else to share, but move on to executive session agenda item for the personnel to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee. Can I have a motion, please?
A motion?
Second.
Thank you. Melissa, can you call roll?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Need a motion to come out of executive session.
I'll motion.
Second.
Melissa,
Second.
please call roll.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. No action taken. Agenda item KM, approve payments of bills and financial reports. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the payment of bills and financial reports shall stand approved. Hearing no objections, they will shall stand approved. Agenda item KN, adjournment. Adjournment, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Thank you. Marissa, can you please call roll?
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Meredith?
Yes.
Victor?
Yes.
Jordan?
Yes.
Brittany?
Yes. Thank you.
Nice job.